Oh my God, Rita.
Hello, my name is Willie Bragg, and welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I hope each and every one of you are doing well today. And I'm not strictly 4th of July sort of person, but happy 4th of July anyway, in spite of the loss of freedoms that we're experiencing every day in this country by both parties. But that's beside the point, really is. So 2024. I'm not going to talk really too much about Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and all that. Their names may come up. I'm not going to really go in too much detail about them, or Donald Trump for that matter, or Ron DeSantis. I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to talk about Howard Stern. Yeah, you remember Howard Stern, the radio DJ. Now, I grew up. I started hearing about Howard Stern by the time I was in college. And when I was in college, I first heard of Howard Stern, and, he was mildly entertaining, with the crude humor and all that. I'm okay with that. Hold on, let me get rid of this here. I'm actually okay with that. But, the thing about Howard Stern is he decided to run for governor New York State as a libertarian. Y'all know where I stand on libertarianism. I don't agree with libertarianism, especially in the area of economics. But he decided to run, and I have no qualms, really, if somebody wants to run for an office, even if it's an economic philosophy I don't believe in. That's fine and dandy, and it's supposed to be a free country, and I believe in a multi-party system. I believe whatever your ideology is, no matter how correct or wrong your ideology is, you have a right to run for office. So that's where I stand. But he was a single issue voter, and George Pataki won that election, the Republican. And I, as much as I don't like voting for Republicans, I would have preferred, and he did win, by the way, George Pataki. A George Pataki victory would have been preferable to Howard Stern had he, by miracle, won that election. Even though George Pataki, unfortunately, did what Howard Stern wanted to do. Howard Stern campaigned on bringing back the death penalty by executive order and then stepping down. That was Howard Stern. And so I'm just like, well, fuck this guy, because I oppose capital punishment under all circumstances. I really do. I mean, I'm passionate about that issue. So there was that. But I mean, I guess he morphed into a shit lib. So over the years, and I'll go into that momentarily. But I guess with the overturning of Roe versus Wade, he's really motivated to start running for president. So it's a possibility that if Hillary doesn't run, that he might run for president, because he's kind of tight with Hillary. So Howard Stern on Roe versus Wade overturning it. I'm actually going to probably have to run for president now. So basically, that's what he's planning to do. And Howard Stern is ripping the Supreme Court decision, striking down Roe versus Wade, saying the ruling might spur him to launch a White House bid. Okay, I'm so far so good. I'm actually going to probably have to run for president now. The Sirius XM host told Howard Stern listeners on Monday. Okay, let me get rid of these damn pop-ups. Okay, the show marks Stern's first public comments about Friday's Supreme Court decision, which overturned the 1973 landmark ruling that had provided a constitutional right to abortion. Stern, who's long railed against the United States Electoral College system, said of conservative Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, and Neil Gorsuch, there are appointed judges by former President Trump who were appointed by a president who lost the popular vote by 3 million votes. This is where we get into trouble. Well, I'm all about removing the Electoral College. I have always been a proponent of that. I personally think the thing to do is to have term limits, retroactive term limits for these motherfucking judges out there in the federal courts. So this kind of right-wing tyranny that Trump has invoked on us all can be cut to a minimum. So let me continue. These are my words, not the Hill's article. If he were to run for office, a 68-year-old pro said, I am going to do the very simple thing that'll set the country straight. One vote, one person, no more Electoral College. I'm getting rid of it. Okay, I like that. I mean, I still don't like Howard Stern, but I like that. I'm all about getting rid of the Electoral College system. It will open up third parties, because my take is that we have a two-party system that's locked in where you can't break through, because the Electoral College scares the collection of special interest group in one side to stick together because they hate the other side, and vice versa. So I'm cool with that. So if he can do that, hey, I'm okay with it. But I still wouldn't support him for president. The problem with most presidents is that they have too big of an agenda. The only agenda I would have is to make the country fair again, Stern said. Well, I don't believe him, because in 2016, he chose Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. In 2020, even worse, he chose Michael Bloomberg over Bernie Sanders. So he's full of shit, very much so. But Stern continued. Stern slammed Clarence Thomas, who joined the 6-3 minority decision, describing him as sitting there like Darth Vader, dormant and waiting for the other cooks to join in the Supreme Court. Yeah, well, Clarence Thomas was very unjustified. I said that back in 1991 as a young buck. I'll give you a couple examples of why this is so terrible, Stern said. As he mentioned, every day, women who go to the doctor and they find out that the baby has horrible birth defects. A lot of times women are raped. A lot of times contraceptions don't work. And then there are even more confusing states where a man and a woman want to have a baby, and all of a sudden things go medically wrong. Stern later told listener, we were past all this, and we still are. We as a country voted for Hillary Clinton by 3 million votes. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. There are other choices out there. I took advantage of that. And no, I'm not the reason Trump won. Stern, who supported the 2016 Democratic presidential nominee over Trump, exclaimed, we voted for Biden because it was repugnant. All this horseshit. Stern continued, but now for life, we're stuck. Well, that's Mitch McConnell's fault. And we should have term limits in the House and the Senate. So pieces of shit like Mitch McConnell can't stay there forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. The other thing is that if I do a run for president and I'm not fucking around, I'm really thinking about it because the only other thing that I'm going to do is appoint 5 more Supreme Court justices, Stern said. They better have an ACLU membership card inside their wallet, Howard. After a co-host, Robin Quivers, questioned whether Stern could make such a change, he replied with a slight chuckle, I don't know what I'm doing exactly. I'm not free to do it as soon as I become president. You're just going to get 5 more new Supreme Court justices, and that are going to overturn all this bullshit. Stern floated a potential presidential run before. Last year, Howard Stern, Stern. Yeah, as I said, I talk about how he ran as a libertarian. I am not going to repeat myself. So that pretty much is the gist of it right there. As I said, no dice to Howard Stern, even though I'm okay with the getting rid of the Electoral College. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with things like whatever it takes, pretty much, to go and to do something about these reactionary justices. The only thing I'm a little uncomfortable with is the stacking of the courts. I have been back and forth on that issue. Do we stack the courts or not? Because Roosevelt tried, and looking back historically, it would have been wonderful if Roosevelt would have done it, because we would have been a hell of a lot better country today. But our politicians are no good in either party, so I'm a little bit hesitant about it. Plus, the idea if the next president, or even if Biden grew some balls and decided to go and change the court and start expanding justices, there's a problem if all the justices either retire or die by the time Ron DeSantis become president, and that's a very high probability at that point. And the idea of Ron DeSantis appointing Supreme Court justices and federal judges across in the federal court system scares the living shit out of me. It scares the hell out of me. So I think that the solution, as I said, is a 10-year term limit. If we can have term limits for the presidency, which was a good idea, the Republicans back in the 1940s did it for the wrong reasons, but it was the right thing to do. They didn't want to have Roosevelt getting elected forever. It was for partisan reasons. However, it was still the right thing to do at the end of the day. We should have it for the U.S. Senate. We should have it for the U.S. House. We should have it for the judicial branch. All 3 branches of government should have term limits. That's just my little take on things. This is not about me. This is about Howard Stern right now. So, the thing about it is that this guy, Howard Stern, he's an obnoxious shit lib that is out of touch with reality. He's learned to behave, and he's played it safe, and now he's good buddies with Hillary Clinton. And if you ever seen the interview, that was a horrible interview. And I just cannot deal with it. So I just couldn't deal with it. So anyhow, but count me out when it comes to supporting Howard Stern for president. There's no way, shape, or form, no way in hell you will see me supporting him. I'm not going to support Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is worse. I suppose Howard Stern is a lesser evil. Yeah, of course. Duh. But I live in a red state that's not going anywhere. North Carolina is fucking red. It's going to stay red. I live in a state that had Jesse Helms as senator forever, and they couldn't get rid of him. So this is what we're dealing with. these Southern conservatives and Southern right-wingers, and I say this as a Southern socialist, these Southern right-wingers are very stubborn. They don't change. But anyway, we have here on the chat line, Les Bones. Hey, how are you? Let's see here. A run with Jesse Ventura would have been interesting, but I don't think that they're being serious about that. I respect Jesse Ventura. The more he talks politically these days, he's moving further and further. I'm not going to say he's anti-capitalist yet, but he's actually moved further left in a more socialistic direction. I mean, he's definitely leaned more into a heavy social democratic direction, for damn sure. And that's good. I mean, I've been very happy with him every time he talks. But I would like for him to stop talking the talk and actually run the fuck for president, Jesse. Run for president. Because, I mean, honestly, I mean, he's like Bernie with balls. I mean, really, he is. I mean, he's like, he's got roughly the ideas of Bernie. I mean, he's like a less perfect Bernie on policy, but as far as being aggressive, he runs circles and is superior to Bernie in terms of being aggressive and being kind of an asshole when he needs to be about it. And I'm saying that in a nice way toward Jesse Ventura. Let's see. Howard has been horrible on immigration too. I wasn't sure what his position was on immigration. I would have assumed he would have been fairly down the line liberal, but I wasn't sure about that. But yeah, that's a downer for sure. Right, for sure. They're all hardcore neoliberals. Yep, we surely have too many of them around. The fact that Alex Schmitz writes, the fact that Bernie was the only one who spoke up for Stern against the FCC, for Stern to support the status quo and the establishment after proves he's just a rich fraud. Yeah, because the thing about Bernie, I don't want to make it all about Bernie, but the thing about Bernie, give the man credit, even if he still has managed to disappoint me in a lot of ways, being passive, and you can hear his knee pop on the floor as he bend the knee toward Biden and company, thinking that some breadcrumbs are coming our way. Give him credit. Bernie Sanders is still tops when it comes to things like free speech issues. He's on the top of his game, and I challenge anybody who tell me otherwise. And honestly, so there's that. If you like what you heard, and yeah, but as a stance right now, I reject Howard Stern running for president. The hell with that. Let's see. And one last thing before my closing words. He's pretty much identical with Hillary on wanting to build a wall. Well, okay. Well, and then Howard Stern is even more out than I was going to say. So imagine that. So if you all like what you heard, press like and comment. Comment any way if you disagree with what I have to say. Feel free to share the content on this channel as a First Amendment absolutist. It's my duty to inform you and to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are the muckrakers of our time. And remember, to each and every one of you, we're here for a reason. And that's because corporate media has nothing to offer for us. Nothing whatsoever. Until next time, I will conclude by saying what I normally say. Since I started putting music here on this channel in the beginning and the end, and I usually say music.
The folks at Lee Chrysler Jeep.
You'll hear music in a minute. Okay, music. Take care, folks.